When we talk about China, it's easy to just see a country on a map. But what we're really looking at is something else entirely. It's a living, breathing story, a civilization that stretches back not just hundreds but thousands of years. And to get a handle on where China is today, we have to go way, way back to the beginning.
And this quote right here, it gets to the heart of everything. To really understand modern China, its politics, its tech, its role in the world, you have to adjust your sense of scale. The past isn't just history in a book. It's right there, shaping the present and drawing the map for the future.
So, where do we even begin with a story this big? Well, we have to start at the foundation, with the core ideas in the ancient dynasties that built an identity so strong it's lasted for 5,000 years.
Okay, so our story kicks off like it has for countless generations along the Yellow River. This is the cradle of Chinese civilization. It's here that the very first dynasties, the Xia, the Shang, the Zhou, began to take shape. These weren't just kings and armies. They mastered bronze. They developed some of the earliest forms of writing on oracle bones. And most importantly, they lit the spark for a huge intellectual awakening that would define what it even means to be China for millennia.
And out of that awakening, you get these two massive pillars of thought that are still incredibly important today. On one hand, you've got Confucianism. It's all about order, duty, social harmony. It really became the blueprint for how to run a government and a society. And on the other hand, you have Daoism, which is this beautiful counterbalance. It's focused on nature, balance, and just finding your place in the flow of the universe. These two ideas, they were like the original operating system for Chinese civilization.
All right, so how do you get from a 5,000-year-old civilization to the modern nation we see today? Well, the 20th century was a whirlwind. It was a dramatic, often chaotic answer to that question, as 2,000 years of emperors and dynasties came to a crashing halt.
And just look at how fast everything happened. Seriously, in less than 40 years, China goes from its very last imperial dynasty to a fractured republic to the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949. This was more than just a change of leadership. It was a total reinvention of the country's identity, and it set China on the exact path that it's on right now.
So what does this modern state actually look like from the inside? Well, power in China today is incredibly centralized. It flows directly from the top down. Right at the peak, you have the paramount leader. His vision guides the Politburo Standing Committee, this tiny core group of just 7 people who map out the country's entire long-term strategy. From there, their decisions flow down to the nearly 100 million strong Communist Party, which then governs the entire nation of 1.4 billion people. It's a system built for speed and decisiveness.
And in recent years, that structure has become even more centralized. Since 2012, one man, Xi Jinping, has held all 3 of the most powerful jobs. He controls the party, the state, and the military. And with the removal of presidential term limits, this kind of concentrated authority is something we really haven't seen in modern Chinese history. So you have this immense, centralized power. What do you do with it? Well, it's been aimed at one single massive goal, what they call national rejuvenation. So let's look at the real-world results of that focus, the pillars of China's modern superpower status, its military, its economy, and its technology. First, just wrap your head around the scale of its military. The People's Liberation Army, the PLA, is the largest standing army on the planet, with over 2 million active duty personnel. But it's not just about numbers anymore. The real push now is to build a modern, high-tech fighting force.
And you can see that modernization most clearly out on the water. The PLA Navy has exploded to over 370 warships. That makes it the largest navy in the world by the number of ships. And this isn't just about protecting their own coastline. It's a very clear signal of China's ambition to project its power across the entire region and eventually the globe.
Now, this kind of transformation doesn't happen by accident. It's fueled by a massive ongoing investment. As the world's second biggest military spender, China has been upping its defense budget pretty much every year for almost 3 decades straight. This isn't some short-term push. It's a long-term strategic plan to become a top-tier military power. And what's paying for all this? An economic story that is just mind-blowing. Back in 1978, China's entire GDP was less than $150 billion. Today, it's over $18.5 trillion. The scale and the speed of that economic rise, there's just nothing else like it in modern history. And now, that incredible economic power is being aimed at a new target: technological supremacy. Look at this. From their goal of leading the world in AI by 2030 to completely dominating the global supply chain for solar panels, China's making a huge strategic bet.
It's not enough to just be part of the global tech scene anymore. The ambition now is to write the rules for the 21st century.
Okay, so we've seen the hardware, we've seen the economic numbers, but what's the actual identity of this place? To really get China, you have to look past the headlines and dive into this huge, complex tapestry of its land, its people, and its culture that just keeps on going. First off, the sheer size of the country is hard to even imagine. It's basically a continent pretending to be a country. Up in the north, you've got Harbin, the ice city, where it can get to -30°C in the winter. At the same time, way out west, you've got the Terpane Depression, known as Fireland, where summer temps can soar past 50°C. This incredible range of environments has shaped everything from food to personalities.
And that diversity you see in the landscape, it's reflected in the people too. While the Han Chinese are the majority, the country officially recognizes 55 other ethnic groups, and every single one brings its own languages, its own traditions, its own unique flavor to this incredibly rich cultural mix.
All of this is happening alongside the largest urban migration in the history of humanity. China is now dotted with these massive megacities, each one with more than 20 million people and its own distinct vibe. From Shanghai, the glamorous hub of global finance, to Shenzhen, the non-stop engine of global tech.
And finally, the influence of this ancient yet super modern culture is now radiating out across the world. Whether it's through its food, its blockbuster movies, its art, or its philosophy, China is exporting its culture more and more, and in doing so, it's shaping conversations and tastes far beyond its own borders.
So we kind of end up back where we started, but with a new, much bigger question. We've seen a civilization that's managed to survive for 5,000 years, always adapting, always reinventing itself. It's taken that incredible history and used it as fuel for one of the most historic rises to power we've ever seen. So the real question now is, with that ancient past holding it steady, what on earth will the next chapter for this civilizational state look like?